This is a world gone mad. This is a world gone mad. Mad, 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 mad.
This is A World Gone Mad. I'm Jeff Allen Wolf. If you're hearing this, congrats. You've made it through another week of democracy duct taped to a Segway, wobbling wildly toward a cliff, while the crowd cheers, "Crash! Crash! Crash!" America's having a full-blown identity crisis, except instead of therapy, we just scream into comment sections and elect people who think reading is a deep state hoax. The headlines, still deranged. The politics, still bought and paid for. And the national mood, somewhere between a caffeine crash and a midlife crisis with a bullhorn. You may be in your car or on a walk, or could be hiding in the laundry room with the dog pretending you don't live here. But you're here. And for that, I thank you. Because this podcast, it's not brought to you by corporations, think tanks, or some boardroom full of brand consultants. It's just one guy, me, with a mic, a lot of unresolved opinions, and a golden retriever sitting next to me wondering why I'm yelling in a closet again. Stick around, because later in the show I've got another full segment of news from the Edge of Sanity, featuring the kind of stories that make you say, wait, did that actually happen? Yes, it did. And probably in Florida. But first, let's get into it. Because while the headlines keep spiraling like a Roomba on cocaine, somebody has to call it out loud. And that would be me. So let's roll. Let's start where it always hurts the most. Your wallet. Apparently the best way to calm a shaky job market is to body slam it with new tariffs. The headlines say course correction. The markets say we're on fire. And the job numbers? Let's just say they've been hitting the unemployment line harder than a frat boy hits Red Bull during finals. This isn't trickle down. It's splash damage. And once again, the people getting soaked aren't the ones with yachts. Let me break it down. Because the Dow dropped harder than Trump's vocabulary during a deposition, and someone should probably explain why the markets just face-planted. And no, it's not a pretty crash. So guess what, America? We finally got the new jobs report. And if you were hoping for good news, surprise! It's wearing clown shoes and lighting its hair on fire. Only 73,000 jobs were added in July. That's not growth. That's a polite shrug from capitalism. Analysts expected 110,000 jobs. Even a magic 8-ball could have predicted better. Oh, and May and June? Turns out those numbers, the job numbers, were inflated too, so they quietly got slashed by 258,000. Great. We're not just falling short, we've been lying to ourselves about falling short. And just when you thought the economic sky couldn't get any grayer, the administration chucked a brick made of tariffs. I think you think this story was said before, but no, again, more tariffs by Trump, straight through the global window. New trade penalties just hit Canada, India, Brazil, and Taiwan, with rates up to 41% on everything from semiconductors to EV parts. Because what better time to jack up prices than during a fragile job market and runaway inflation? That's like setting your house on fire because you're cold and then yelling at the fire department for not bringing marshmallows. Wall Street immediately had a seizure. The Dow dropped over 600 points. NASDAQ face-planted 2.3%. S&P nosedived 1.8%. And financial news anchors tend to spin it as a tariff-induced sell-off, which is the polite way of saying everyone just freaked the hell out. So here's what you're left with. Crappy job numbers, crappier revisions, and a tariff tantrum so bad that buying a dozen eggs might soon need a layaway plan. This isn't economic strategy. This is a body slam damage. And once again, the people getting bruised aren't the hedge fund managers. They're you, me, and the woman in aisle 7 trying to decide between eggs or toilet paper because she sure as hell can't afford both. They call this a market correction. No, this is capitalism correcting its aim and hitting us in the face. This is what economic shock therapy looks like. If the patient is already dead and the doctor's using jumper cables to record a TikTok video. So while the markets were busy reenacting Titanic without the romance, the U.S. Senate decided now was a great time to reaffirm its undying love for bombs. A bipartisan group of lawmakers tried to block a massive arms sale to Israel. Just a casual $18 billion in fighter jets and munitions during an active war zone. The Senate's response? No. Because if there's one thing America refuses to cancel, it's prime time weapons delivery, even when the world's on fire. Let's unpack how the military aid just got a blank check again. The Senate green-lighted more firepower because what's a war without a few billion in jets? While the economy was face-planting and Wall Street was screaming into a paper bag, the U.S. Senate quietly voted against blocking an $18 billion arms deal to Israel, a deal that includes dozens of F-15 fighter jets and thousands of bombs. Let's be clear, this wasn't some fringe objection. It was a bipartisan push, a rare, unified attempt by members of both parties to say, hey, maybe don't toss more weapons into a war zone that's already killed over 38,000 civilians in Gaza. And the Senate still said, nah, let's press send. The vote? 20 in favor of the block. Cool. Oh, wait, 73 against. Now, here's the part that stings. Democrats, I repeat, Democrats suck just as bad as Republicans on this one. This wasn't a right-wing only fiasco. This was across the board. The same Democrats who tweet about human rights and post peace doves on Instagram turned around and rubber-stamped another crate of bombs. Because nothing says moral leadership like funding both sides of a humanitarian crisis. And transparency, forget it. The Pentagon won't say when the weapons are shipping. They won't say how many, and definitely won't say whether they'll be dropped on urban centers that are already rubble with a zip code. So while Americans are getting labeled extremists for holding protest signs, our government just quietly okayed a $1 billion weapons drop and called it supporting an ally. At this point, the only bipartisan agreement left in Congress is that bombs equal progress. That was the part of the news pretending to be serious. Now let's visit the part that forgot its meds. Welcome to news from the Edge of Sanity, where the headlines twitch, logic flees the scene, and reality, she files a restraining order. Let's kick things off in Florida. Sorry, Bill. The only state where a pizza party can turn into a police raid before the cake's even cut. Here we go. Listen up, pay attention, visualize. In Tallahassee, a 41-year-old man was arrested for credit card fraud while wearing a full Chuck E. Cheese mascot suit. And yes, it happened during business hours. And yes, in front of children, no less. A room full of screaming kids, greasy pizza everywhere, and suddenly a 7-foot rat is face down on the tile in handcuffs? That's not a birthday party. That's the repressed memory little Timmy won't talk about until his third divorce. The man, Jermell Jones, allegedly stole someone's credit card, made a few, let's say, non-pizza-related purchases, and then clocked in at Chuck E. Cheese like it was just another day in the cheese mines. Police say they arrested him on site, meaning while he was still in costume. Which raises this important question, Wolfpack listeners. Did the police remove the giant rat head before reading him his rights? Or did the kids think it was part of the show? And let's be honest, that's the most realistic thing that's ever happened at a Chuck E. Cheese. You haven't truly lived until you've watched a giant rodent get cuffed next to a claw machine and a guy in a Spider-Man costume vaping near the salad bar. Somewhere out there, a toddler is already in therapy drawing pictures of a rat crying in the back of a squad car. The charges? Theft of a credit card, fraud, criminal use of personal ID, classic bad mouse behavior. Wolfpack listeners, we're talking about Florida, where the animatronics are creepy, but the mascots are worse. Okay, some people run from the cops, others run from logic. In this next story, this guy ran straight into a pond filled with snakes. Like a one-man episode of Naked and Afraid, Meth Edition. Let's talk about it. I swear, a 400-pound man in Oklahoma breaks into a house, flees the cops, and then, because apparently reality has just given up, then dives into a snake-infested pond like he's auditioning for Cops, Louisiana Bayou Edition. And not a cute koi pond either, okay? We're talking about a pond full of water moccasins, snapping turtles, and swamp water marinated in regret. The kind of pond where even the mosquitoes have PTSD. Oh, did I neglect to mention that the 400-pound man was naked? That's right, flat out, sans clothes, buckaroo in the breeze style. Nothing between him and the snake buffet but pure Oklahoma confidence. So now cops are standing on the shore, watching this glistening cryptid of chaos float around like it's a spa day in Satan's birdbath. And he stays in there for an hour, like he believes the turtles will crown him king if he stays still long enough. Well, eventually the police talk him out. He emerges dripping, mud-smeared, and looking like a birthday cake left in the rain. And 0 bites, 0 injuries. Just a lot of decisions, swamp water, and probable therapy bills for everyone involved. Only in America does "come out with your hands up" reveal more than the arrest warrant and also scar the witnesses. That was your news from the Edge of Sanity. Now a regular segment on Fridays. A friendly reminder that while the headlines are terrifying, the sidelines are completely unhinged. I'm not saying the world is disturbed, but it just ate glue and licked the wall socket. Okay, Wolfpack listeners, if you have comments, rants, or even emotional outbursts, or maybe just send me a gift basket full of gas station pickles and a note that says, "I laughed, I cried, I yelled at my toaster. Thank you, Jeff." I also accept love letters, hate mail, and chew toys from your dog. Email me anytime, madworldtalk@gmail, madworldtalk@gmail.com. Write something brilliant. Write something unhinged. Write something that makes Alexa whisper, "Oh no, not again." Or leave me a message on my 24/7 free voicemail line, 833-399-9653, toll free. Call and hear the part of a segment I had to cut. The one my legal team told me a little too honest, Jeff. Unfiltered, unedited. It's not available anywhere else. I'm dead serious. You need to call my voicemail box and hear this. It's not on Apple. It's not on Spotify. It's not even on Buzzsprout. I dare you. Let's see which of the listeners actually have some balls. 833-399-9653. This is bonus information for those that call. But if you don't leave a message, you're just a ghost. Would love to hear your feedback. Also, please leave a review on Apple or Spotify. It's the only way this podcast gets noticed instead of being buried. Without your stars and your comments, Apple and Spotify think I'm a guy in a bathrobe broadcasting from his bathroom with a kazoo. This has been A World Gone Mad. I'm Jeff Allen Wolf. I'll be back Monday because someone has to say the shit that no one else will. And apparently, that job's mine. Until then, Wolfpack listeners, stay skeptical, stay focused, and most of all, stay hopeful.